Yes.
Good. Good. So we have lots to talk about. I just want to give a quick summary of the situation with respect to testnet 3 before handing it over to Rao. So all the code for cost accounting is done. It's passing all the tests with the exception of a small group that we knew it wouldn't pass because we're pushing merging off to a little bit later. And unfortunately, when we run it in the wild, it's still uncovering a bug. So when we launch it on Sandbox or testnet, we're still hitting a unmatched consume bug. Once it's happened on the pre-charge, and once it's happened on the refund in various test runs in the network setting. So Joe and Marcin and Mike are hot on the trail of this bug, and as soon as we get this squashed, assuming there's nothing else on the other side of it, no other issue on the other side of it, we will launch testnet 3. So major progress, but we're still squashing bugs right now before we launch testnet 3. So with that, let me turn it over to Rao to give a more detailed view of the tech update.
Thank you, Greg. I think everybody should be able to see my screen. Can you confirm?
Yep.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, let me just put the link in the chat. Where'd the chat go? Okay, so there's the link in the chat. The cost accounting is where Greg has just updated you on. So we're going ahead and releasing 0916 with the rest of the changes that we've been working on pending the cost accounting release. Basically, whenever cost accounting, this bug is fixed and the PRs are merged, we're going to do another review, probably at a much shorter cycle time than normal. So right now, actually, 0916 is being released as we speak, and it includes multi-sig features. It has the validator slashing and ejection rules and tests against those. We have now the concept. We persist the last finalized block, sort of as a first-class citizen, because that would help a lot of different efficiencies in the rest of the code and in the performance of the network overall. And there is a WebSockets-based events API to access live information about our node. And in just a few minutes, Tomislav is going to demonstrate a wallet, or specifically how we enable Ether wallets like MetaMask to be used. And that uses this last feature that I was just talking about, the WebSockets-based API. Then the other thing I want to say, we're in sprint 41, but really last few sprints, we've been kind of part of the team has been more in a sprint mode, part of the team has been in a Kanban mode. Because as the features are completed, we're moving to more bug fixes and assisting with other things that needed to be done. So we will be moving more to more completely to a Kanban style during the hardening phase, because right after cost accounting, most of the effort will be on hardening and finishing up any cleanup or additional things we need to do with the feature work. But feature work is done basically with once we release cost accounting. So it'll be more of a Kanban style of management is what we'll be going into. So the focus is testnet 3, cost accounting specifically. Everything else is things we've been working on that are being cleaned up. In cost accounting, you can see that most of the items that were in review last time have been merged. And the only thing remaining right now is to complete or track down this bug that Greg was describing so we can move forward. In long proposal times, we had a couple of changes. One is the fairness constraint was modified to base it on block creator rather than the block sender. And that's waiting to be merged. I mean, we actually ran tests on it. It works fine. It's just that because people are busy with cost accounting work, they did not do the official reviews. So we're waiting for that to be complete, and then we can merge. And finalized block, I said earlier that finalization is now kind of a first-class citizen. So for that, we have a bunch of pull requests that have been merged. And the multi-sig vaults, the feature is already released. It's available to you in 0916 to use. There are a couple of use cases within the system of using it, such as adding the logic to the Genesis block to allow the co-rev vault to be a multi-sig. And those things, the using of multi-sig is still work that's being done, but most of multi-sig is already in there. Tomislav will speak to the demo, and then we're basically continuing with the bug fixes and optimizations. So before I turn over to Tomislav for his demo, are there any questions on the development update, tech update? If not, it's all yours, Tomislav. I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I will share my screen. So do you hear me and see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So what I have here is the sample page that can communicate with MetaMask extension. So I will go to the whole process, what will be done on the start of the network. So for example, if I have on my Ethereum account, I have some rocks. This will be transferred to the R node. This Ethereum address will be like starting. This is the wallet's file, and R node will recognize this address and this amount of revs on this address. So I will start R node. So on the MetaMask side, it will be very easy to implement this kind of page that can communicate with MetaMask. So the first thing is to connect MetaMask and allow this certain page to communicate with MetaMask. So after that, I can use. So now I have on this address I have this amount of 1,000 revs. So I will first check the balance. So if someone have any questions, please ask. So first I will convert it to the rev address, and this is all client-side code to do this operation. So when the node is started, I can check the balance, and what is going on is this deploy that checking the balance must be serialized and sent to MetaMask for signing, because MetaMask is having the private key related to this address. Now with this personal signature on MetaMask or Ethereum, we can see what we are signing. So we can really check if the address or in a case of transfer, is this address exactly what we want? So I will sign this deploy, which will get us balance for this address. And we can see on our node. that this deploy is processed, and I see the balance here. So the next thing what we can do is transfer this address to these tokens to another address. So I have here my Ledger hardware wallet, and I will transfer to my hardware wallet some amount. So first I will copy the address and convert it to rev, and this will be the address that we will send. And I will use the first address as from address, and I will transfer some amount. I can also check first what is the balance of my hardware wallet. So let's do this first. And always the process is always the same. When we are communicating with our node, we are signing deploy with our private key inside the MetaMask, of course. Oh, so now I switched my account to hardware wallet. So I need to sign with my hardware wallet. So I'm pressing now signing, and I see the balance is 0. Of course, in production on the mainnet we cannot do this, because if we don't have revs, we cannot create another deploy. So let me switch to a MetaMask address, and I will create a transfer. So I don't need to confirm with my hardware wallet. So the transfer is done, and now I can check on my hardware wallet what is the balance. And this amount is transferred. So in short, this is the whole demo. I can also show you part of the code if someone is interested.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Thank you very much, Tomislav. Can you give us a sense of roughly how long it took you to put this together?
Well, it's not too long, but I want to create some kind of useful functions that can be used from JavaScript.
Yeah, no, of course. No, the reason I'm asking is because we want to give the community a sense of, you know, how much effort they might expect if they wanted to build similar tools.
Oh, with these examples, it's I don't know, just copy paste and this is done. You know, I will create examples that, you know, you just copy paste and you're done in 5 minutes.
Awesome. That's exactly what I was hoping for, was that but you know, by the time this work is done, it becomes easier and easier for people to start building more and more interesting functionality on top of the platform, and that's what we want to. Very good, very good, fantastic demo. Is there some particular part of the code that you thought is worthy of showing off?
Well, there is no nothing special, right? I will create examples that are using Ethereum libraries or Web3, or, you know, so that everyone can use it, and, you know, in whatever, you know, context they have.
Sure, understood. Thank you. Very good.
No problem.
It looks like there's some. So there's some questions here. So what is the demo called? RChain Rev MetaMask signing tool. What's the name of the demo?
This is my testing page. This is already published, but now it's not working because we made the changes to signing and valid after block number, and I will put all of this information in some kind of document that you can easily understand.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any other questions for Tomislav?
Yeah, Tomislav, this is Ian. That was lovely, and I just wanted to verify again. So you can run this offline to putting in your Rock Ethereum address and retrieving what your Rev address is, right? That doesn't take any communication with the network.
Yes. Only deploy is communication to the network. Everything else can be done offline.
Okay, and Yeah, and I was a little confused. Was there any communication with MetaMask? I was a little confused about the signing part.
Yes, yes. To MetaMask, there is communication to sign deploy, and that's the only thing, because private key is inside the MetaMask or is inside the hardware wallet.
Right.
I get the question was if we talked with MetaMask team. Is that ATN?
No, the question was whether or not there was a software communication from the demo to MetaMask.
Right, because you're signing with MetaMask's key. Is that right?
Yeah. So MetaMask API accepts signing. They have signing function which accepts data and the data and Ethereum address. Right.
Yeah, this is great, and also you're storing your rev optionally either in MetaMask or even on the Ledger hardware wallet, right?
Yes, because this is supported by MetaMask. But I will also try to create a direct communication with hardware wallet.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you.
No problem.
All right.
So-
Yeah, I think it may be worth mentioning that basically this should work with any wallet tools that support the ETH signature format. Is that correct, Tomislav?
Yeah, it should.
Very good. So that means that people won't have to run command line functions in order to access their rev.
Yeah. They can just save one HTML page with JavaScript and they can use it on offline or whatever.
Fantastic. Very good. We're getting there, one step at a time. All right. So onward and upward, we had a board meeting yesterday. This is the first meeting of the new board. Just to remind everyone, the board members are Evan Jensen, Steve Henley, Daryl Newdorf, Steve Ross Talbot, Eric Mung. Who else am I missing? And myself. Did I forget anyone?
Vlad?
Apart from Vlad?
What about Dan Salkov?
Dan Salkov. There we go. I knew I was forgetting someone. Dan Salkov was also a new board member. And so the first items of business, as required by the bylaws, were for the board to appoint a president and secretary. So the board voted to appoint me as president under the same resolution as before, that I will remain president until we deliver Mercury, and then we will have an interim president before we move into a president-less mode. We are still working with Steve Ross Talbot with the idea that Steve will come in as the interim president. The board also voted unanimously to have Lilia Rusu as the secretary, and Lilia graciously accepted the role. And then the board moved into mostly informational discussions. So the board requested an update on the tech, and I gave them pretty much the same update that I gave you guys. Although I think we were still failing one test when the board was meeting. So we got past all of that, and now we're on to debugging it in the live network. Let's see, trying to think if there's anything else that I can talk about there. We are reviewing a proposal for marketing that has come to us from one of the principals behind Bitmain. So the board also, I facilitated a conversation between Luo Chan and several board members this morning to go over that proposal, and I'll be meeting. Her English name is Lori, so I'll be meeting with Lori when I'm in China next week. Just to remind everyone, I will be traveling to China to meet with the Chinese community, the RChain Chinese community, to meet with folks at Fred Sao's event and other potential financial engagement in China, other investors, potential investors. Trying to think, I think that's about it in terms of updates. Did I miss anything, Ian, that you think it would be relevant? Or Daryl?
I think you got it.
Okay, all right. Let's see. I think that's about it in terms of the updates for this week. We're still, working as hard as we can to knock down all the barriers between us and launching testnet 3. But the dev team has that well in hand. Any questions or comments from the community? Okay. I would like to put in a plug for this week's RCast. We talked quite a bit about blockchain and governance and how all those dots connect and how that connects to climate change. So I think anyone who's interested in how blockchain relates to climate change, that conversation is, we're trying to make that conversation a lot more explicit these days as we get closer and closer to mainnet. I hope that that people will take a look at that. Unless there are any other questions or comments, I'm happy to yield back the time to the community. Going once, twice. All right. See you on Friday, if not before.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks.